Alright, I need to start off by saying something. I like Borderlands 3. As of the time of me writing this, I have just under 51 hours of gameplay, and I've clocked in so much more while replaying this game just to get footage for this video. I've played solo, cooperative, and even co-competitive, and I've been a fan of this series ever since they gave it out for free at the end of 2012. I've played Borderlands 1 and 2 extensively, not to mention being the pre-sequel in Tales numerous times, so believe me when I say I'm a Borderlands fan. I'm with this series through and through, and this game is a fantastic entry into the series. But the series hasn't seen much love since the end of Tales in 2015. And after the departure of Anthony Birch, lead writer of Borderlands 2, I was actually thinking that this series wasn't ever going to see the light of day again, especially after the disaster of Battleborn back in 2016. But after 4 years of anticipation, we're finally putting our boots back in the mud, into that boss-killing, loot-spilling, corporate-shilling, buddy-thrilling mayhem that we know and love.
So, who's coming?
But is it as good as we remember? Can it stand alongside the Titan of 2, or even surpass its thrilling story and gripping gameplay? Well, no. That's not to say it isn't good. It is. I've spent so many hours in this game's story, and I cannot wait to see what else Gearbox has down the line. It just has its issues. So much so I felt inclined to make this. The game has me in this weird inner struggle, where I'm ripping my hair out at the cringy writing and the horrible bugs, but I can't put my controller down because of the incredibly fun gameplay and just oh so fantastic loot. The inner conflict within me is the reason I'm making this, but I just need to point out the issues. What all issues does this game have? Well, let me tell you a story. And then after a week of waiting, he finally came back to record his lines. Also, heavy spoilers! Borderlands 3 saw the introduction of two new villains, Tyrene and Troy Calypso, a band of siren siblings recruiting every bandit clan under their pop media hype cult. They're streaming, we're screaming, and together, it's our job to load up, blast off, and take them down. I should state something before it's yelled at me, though. No, I didn't compare them to Handsome Jack. But to be fair, I'd never expected them to. I'd always held Handsome Jack to the same standard I held GLaDOS, a funny yet threatening villain with enough wit to outsmart your endless resolve, where just charging in doesn't work and requires you to think outside your comfort zone just to take them down. And though I liked that style of villain, I wasn't expecting it 2 games in a row. I was excited to see these guys. These vlog-style villains, and I wanted to see what they could throw at us. But throughout the story, it just fell flat.
See, the monsters don't protect the power of the vaults. They are the power of the vaults.
You what?
At first, I actually liked the Calypsos. Their look, their stature, their slogan, all radiated this feeling of manipulation and power that was quite unique for the series, and I genuinely was intrigued in seeing how they would play out.
Don't expect mercy, superfan. I'm not that kind of god.
But unfortunately, that's just it. At first. They drag on for hours with little to no interaction with the protagonist, and oftentimes fell flat compared to even their minion bosses. I have more fun remembering than I do these two. And even after beating the game, I was left with this empty feeling, like something was missing from their story. But after some thought, I finally came to the conclusion. They never earned their title. For the sake of the argument, I'm going to use Jack as an example. I didn't compare them when originally going into the game, but I have to now. Borderlands 2 opens with Handsome Jack tricking you, attacking you, and you just barely surviving his train bombing before waking up in a desolate tundra on a body of corpses. Before you even take control of the character, he's already outsmarted you. For the entirety of the game onward, you trudge on as Jack calls up just to taunt you, hires bandits to kill you, and shoots robots down from orbit just to spice things up. To him, you're just another bump in the road, a check off an errand list. No real threat.
Look at those murderous bloodshots. Don't you think Pandora would be better without their scum? That's all I want to do. Clear up this planet. If that means I gotta kill bandits like you, bloodshots like all those Crimson Raider idiots in Sanctuary, I'm happy to do it.
But when you take what's precious to him, when you kill his only daughter, his angel, and he listens as she curses his name with her dying breath. He realizes his mistake, and he steps in.
Angel! No, Angel!
Before you even see his face, you watch helplessly as he puts a bullet through Roland's back, killing not only the leader you rallied behind, but capturing and controlling the Firehawk as well. Let's put that in perspective. The first of only 2 times you see him, he captures Lilith, a woman who could burn off the face of Jack but was scared by a man you brought down with ease. A woman with the power to make bandits combust into flames. A woman who can make an entire city move with nothing more than some purple rocks and a bit of encouragement. With only the sleight of his hand, he caps your boss, collars your friend, and forces her to witness as she kills the last chance he has of stopping him. This happens within the span of a minute. So, what happens on their first encounter? Well, first off, it's in the first couple hours of the game. Let me reiterate that, just so we're clear. Within the first 2 hours of the game, you are made to witness as one of the siren gods themselves gets disarmed and left groveling as the other monologues to the enemy about how the god King Troy is no more than a parasite. So, why bring them along to begin with? No, seriously, why bring him along? Well, he's in charge of propaganda. But if that's the case, why not just send him in once the fighting's done? Or better yet, why not just have Tyreen carry around one of those camera drone things he uses to film the whole thing? His whole dynamic is to show her developing a god complex, and in other cases that could work.
Keep this up and I'll be a god for real.
We'll be gods.
That's what I said.
But all it ends up doing is removing any tension or intrigue the story might have had otherwise. Jack's tension was caused by us being certain we could bring him down, only to witness his capabilities and have our certainties shatter in mere seconds. This man held more weight behind him in 1 minute of screen time than these two could hope to achieve across an entire campaign. This is only one instance, but the strong first impressions are imperative when immersing the audience in the narrative. If I'm not invested in their struggle and threatened by their presence, then what's really at stake? But maybe they get better as you progress. But they don't. All they do is just bicker on. There are some impressive moments and set pieces, but their overall character never falters.
Oh, Vault Thief's still alive. Guess I should have anointed a few more of the family. That's the real power.
Remind me why I kept you alive all these years?
Oh, come on, don't be like that. We're having fun. Right? And she walked away.
Even after both of them are pushed to the brink, they never show any humility or sorrow of any kind. Tyreen had to watch her brother collapse before her with his dying breath. She had to watch her father get killed by her own hand. Yet despite this, you don't see any semblance of remorse throughout her storyline. If she had some level of humanity, I might actually relate to her struggle, but you don't even realize why she's going after this. She has no reason to try to have her power struggle. She has no reason to develop a god complex. All they sought out to do was just go out and make a cult, apparently, with no explanation as to why they're doing any of this. All they do is debate amongst themselves as you're forced to bear witness over the phone. And with no way to skip the cutscenes or dialogue, you're just left bored and exhausted from all the nagging and constant injected humor.
While you were gone, Troy whipped up a propaganda vid for our followers. Galaxy premiere! Check it out. You're a star.
It wouldn't be as much an issue if the story as a whole was more well-rounded and their encounters weren't so few and far between. But with no real way to relate to their struggle, these two just end up holding no semblance of relatability. All they do is project themselves as self-absorbed and not in the way they ought to be. But mostly it falls flat due to its contrite use of humor. Okay guys, this is a little bit of an editor's note. As I'm doing this, I've been working on this for like 3 weeks, but just by time constraints, I realized that if I do the entire thing I have scripted out, then it'll end up being like an hour or two, and I feel like that is a bit much for most people to get into. I'm going to start off with this little video right here, but I'm going to continue making more. This is not my closing arguments. This is not the full thing I have scripted. I haven't gone into the positives, the humor, the characters. There are a lot of good things about this game, and I apologize that this video is solely focusing on this one negative aspect, but I promise that I am going to focus on some positives regarding all of these things. I do have positive things to say about the Calypsos. I do have positive things to say about the gameplay and all this stuff. It's just I didn't get around time to it in this specific order that I was doing things. This is just what I have edited so far, and I can't take all the time to edit the full thing. So thank you all for watching what I have so far. I do hope I can get you back next time when I upload. If I can, it should be done within a week, maybe no longer than 2. And if all goes well, then hopefully I'll have the rest of the negatives out of the way, but I'll try my best to also throw in as many positives as I can meanwhile through the editing process, just because I know having nothing but negatives is a bit of a downer. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will look into the comment section of this video to see if there are any extra notes I should be taking, things I need to, maybe I might have overlooked. If you have any ideas of things I should mention in the next videos, please don't be afraid to tell me. And yeah, look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.